So we have business AS level, January 2022, paper 1. There's extra, but we're not going there. It said, define the term quantitative data. We talk about quantitative data. These are data, information gathered that has numerical value. Information gathered which has numerical value. That's the quantitative data. There's increasing publicity about animals suffering from waste, plastic, and non-biodegradable waste in the oceans of the world. Consult a supply and demand diagram to show the impact of increasing publicity on the biodegradable packaging market. So with biodegradable packaging market, simply means resources can naturally dissolve. So with increasing publicity, that means the demand for biodegradable resources will increase, and that will shift the demand curve rightward. So we can graphically represent that as this. So we're going to have a graph here. So we have the demand and supply. Demand, supply, we have our P1, Q1. Then it will increase the demand for biodegradable, right? To D1. So that will increase the quantity of biodegradable to Q2, speaking about the rise in price of biodegradable to P2. So an increase in quantity demanded of biodegradable will shift the demand curve rightward from D to D1. The quantities demanded will increase or expand or extend from Q1 to Q2, and the price is expected to rise from P1 to P2. I think it's clear. So go to question 3. C. Analyze 2 entrepreneurial characteristics such as shown by Anand that may have helped Bamboo to succeed. When we talk about entrepreneurial characteristics, we're talking about qualities seen in an entrepreneur, the qualities possessed by an entrepreneur. We have vision, we have passion, we have creativity, we have adaptability, we have leadership, we have discipline. These are different characteristics of entrepreneur. So yeah, I wrote about vision and creativity. So for vision, I wrote, Anna doesn't want to see Tutor struggling in pain because it was caught up in plastic waste. This makes him to carry out research for over a year and a half for materials that do not harm the environment. That's vision. So he found that bamboo was the best alternative material to plastic. So that's vision. He's visionary. Then creativity here, I wrote, he was able to develop a technology for making straws from bamboo fibers and bamboo waste. This also leads to having a USP for his straws and other packaging. This is all into growth for the business. So that's creativity, creating something technology, and vision by seeing the end from the beginning. I think it's clear. So go to question D. Discuss the benefit for Viber, Anand anyway, I'm using Anand, of using secondary market research when starting his business. When we talk about secondary research is a research that is already in existence. We call it secondary research because it's a research that is already in existence, or a desk research. So what are the benefits of using secondary research? One, it is faster, as the information is collected through journals and websites. That makes it faster. Two, with secondary research, it allows Anand to quickly collect data on biodegradable materials, which allows him to react quickly to changes in social trends. Secondary research is less expensive compared to primary research. This may allow Anand to minimize its cost, leading to lower prices for its packaging. That's another benefit of secondary research. And however, secondary data may not be relevant as bamboo developed a technology for making straws from bamboo fibers. So secondary data may not be useful for this development because you are just developing a new technology. Information of the past might not be ideal. So that's about using secondary research. I think they are all clear, right? Great. So go to question E. Are you there?
Yes.
Assess if there is likely to be a trade-off between an ethical stance and profit for bamboo. What is a trade-off? A trade-off occurs where two objectives cannot be attained. There's a trade-off because you cannot achieve two objectives. That's why we call it a trade-off. So an ethics simply means doing what is right. That's what ethics is about. So there's trade-off between profit and ethics because bamboo behaved ethically by paying the communities who produce the straw a fair pay, which is a fair wage. This may in turn increase the cost of production. setting a higher price as a result reduce its revenue and profit, because most of the times consumers do not want to pay a higher price. So if you are paying a fair wage, which increases your cost, you would want to increase the price. But increasing the price, customers are conscious about price. They might not want to buy, and that reduces your revenue and profitability. I think it's clear. So there's also trade-off between ethics and profit, as not using chemicals or pesticides in production may increase cost. This reduces profitability too. When you don't use chemicals and pesticides, you're going to waste, there's going to be a lot of waste, and it increases your cost. However, a business which behaves ethically may attract customers that are ethically conscious. So as a result, may increase revenue as well as profit. The material used for the straws can be considered as product differentiation, which is a USP. This may attract investors, as a result, allow bamboo to expand and exploit economies of scale. Is it clear? Okay. So go to question 2A.
Social trends.
Yes, no, social trends, yeah.
Social trends are changes.
I'm with you.
Okay. Social trends are changes in the behavior of people that impact businesses and
society. So when you talk about, so I was on my video, that's why. Well, the first question says define the term social trend. When we talk about social trend, it's simply talking about the behavior of people, the behavior of customers that impacts on businesses and the society. That is what social trend is here. So here I wrote, social trends are changes in the behavior of people that impact businesses and society. So when we talk about behavior, we're talking about maybe preferences, taste, fashion, our behavior, how we react. So how we act that will allow businesses to react on certain way. That is what social trend is about. I think the point about social trend is clear. Great. So go to question B. In January 2019, Aldi's monthly revenue was 1.19 billion. In January 2020, the total monthly revenue for UK supermarkets was 16 billion. So in January 2020, Aldi had a 9% market share of the total monthly revenue of UK supermarkets. Using the data, calculate the increase in monthly revenue for Aldi businesses between January 2019 and 20. You're advised to share your working. So before we go into that, what is total revenue? Total revenue is the total amount of receipts in the course of selling the product. That's total revenue. And when we talk about market share, market share is the total brand sale divided by the total market sale multiplied by 100. So the percentage of what a brand sell in that market is the market sale. So for Aldi, in 2019, the percentage sold or the revenue sold, the total revenue or the value for revenue is 1.9 billion pounds. Done. But for 2020, we don't have the figure. We only have the market share, which is 9% of the total market sale. So the brand sale of Aldi is 9% in the total of 16 billion. So first, we'll figure out what the market share, the value of the market share is in relative to the total revenue. So here, we're going to write them out one by one. So we have total revenue for 2019, which is 1.19 billion. Then the total revenue for 2020, which we don't know yet, is 9% of 9 over 100 of, that's the market share of 16 billion. I think that point is clear there. So here it gives us 1.44. 1.44. So we need to find, that's for 2020 for Aldi. So we're told to find the change in total revenue between 2019 and 2020. So difference in total revenue, difference or change is the same. Difference in total revenue will equal to 2020 total revenue to 2020 TR 2020 minus TR 2019. Are you with me? So TR 2020 is 1.44 minus TR 2019, 1.19. So the change is 0.25 billion. Is it clear, please? Is it clear?
Yes.
So we move on to question C. Said, analyze It said analyze.
Two benefits for the ALD of having employee welfare as one of its main business objectives.
So they said, yeah, thank you. They said analyze the benefit of ALDI of having employee welfare as one of its main business objectives. First, we're talking about business objective. We're talking about what a business is trying to achieve to its plans. That's what a business objective is anyway. So for employee welfare, we're talking about benefits provided by employers to employees, which goes to their well-being. So it's all about taking care of the well-being of your employees. That is what employee welfare is. So yeah, I wrote, employee welfare implies to the benefits provided by the employer to meet the well-being of the employees. I think it's clear. Great. So what are the benefits of having employee welfare for RD? Number one, it increases motivation with the provision of welfare benefit. The employee will be happy as a result. This may bring about increased productivity. So if there's increased productivity, RD might be able to increase its profitability, because when you increase your productivity, it simply means your cost of production would fall. And if your cost is reducing, profitability would rise. And also you can increase your revenue as a result.
Can you talk anything about loyalty?
Yeah, I talked about low staff turnover. So another reason why employee welfare is important is it reduces staff turnover,
which decreases employment costs.
Yes. So when we talk about staff turnover, we're talking about the percentage of workers that leave an organization. Okay. So low staff turnover, that's another benefit. So by providing welfare benefit for employees, this may keep the employees loyal to RD. As a result, reduce the amount to be spent on recruitment and selection. So this may in turn increase RD's profitability. So when you think about your workers as asset, as you said earlier, when you think about your workers as an asset, they will stay loyal to you. They wouldn't want to leave. And if they are not leaving, it simply means you won't spend time recruiting new workers. Because spending time to recruit new workers spends money. It means it's expensive. So every now and then you continue to do that. It brings about a bad reputation even for your own company. And also you won't be able to keep up with the standard. So there won't be consistency in your operation when you continue to change workers. I think the point is clear about employee welfare. So it's important for businesses to put into consideration the welfare, the well-being of their employees if they really want to continuously be competitive in the market. So that's for some schools too anyway. So we'll move on to question D. They said, assess the benefits of RD of sponsoring the UK Olympic team. So when we talk about sponsorship, sponsorship is a financial assistance that given by an employer, by a business, or towards an event. So it means we want to financially help some businesses or some events or some individuals on their own events. So by so doing, they'll be able to showcase our brand, our package, our product, our service. That is what sponsorship is about. So yeah, I wrote, sponsorship is a business relationship in which a company provides financial support for an event. It could be individual, it could be a company, it could be an organization, but an event. It could be in the local community. So sponsoring the British Olympic team to promote a healthier lifestyle may bring about brand awareness. And when there's brand awareness, it increases brand image. That's the first advantage there. Two, the Olympics is a global event, which means the athletes sponsored by RD will be seen globally. This may in turn increase RD sales and revenue because more customers will know, not even existing now, potential customers will know about RD, not the other way around. You get it? However, sponsorship may increase cost for RD, which may lead to RD increasing its price. This may reduce RD's competitiveness. So sponsoring an event is expensive. Nothing is coming back in return. So the money is going. So as a result, it is expensive. It is not expensive if something is coming back in return within the short period of time. But in the long run, it is ideal. It is beneficial in the long run, but in the short run, it is expensive. And in the short run, RD wants to at least cover up for its profit. Then by increasing the price reduces your customer base. Do you get it here? Also, the Olympic Games are only held after 4 years. So this means that the impact of the sponsorship is lower, is less. It doesn't have any impact. So I'm going to watch an Olympic game after 4 years. So you want me to think about RD for the next 4 years? No. So it's just short term. It's short term. So the benefit is short term. So go to question E, right? It said, assess the likely impact of price comparison websites on supermarkets in the UK. I talk about price comparison websites. They are used to compare different prices of products and services of different businesses. I think the point is clear. Price comparison websites are used to compare prices of different products and services of different businesses. Clear. So with price comparison websites, a supermarket will ensure the price of its charges it's competitive in relative to its competitors. So you know that you, as a business, you also check the price comparison website. So you have to, with checking it, it means you are checking that the price you are charging is competitive. Do you understand? That is the first objective of using comparison websites. It's not only for customers. So if more customers will use price comparison websites, places such as Aldi, which sells at lower prices, is likely to gain market share, while others with higher prices may lose their market share. That is if customers are conscious about price. They get the point there. However, there are other marketing elements other than price, which may allow businesses to gain competitive advantage or edge. For example, place, promotion, or product quality. So I might not think about prices. I think about even the location. I think about the quality of the product, loyalty. There are other things that give a business a competitive advantage over competitors, not only price. That's why price is one of the marketing elements. It's not the only marketing element. I think the point is clear there. Also, some customers may be loyal to certain brands, so such as Tesco, which means they may not care about the prices which Aldi and Lidl charges. Clear? I think they are making sense, right? Yes. So go to the last question for January 2022, which is question 3. Evaluate the extent to which Nike's distribution strategy is likely to contribute to its future success. We're talking about distribution channel or strategies. We're talking about, sorry, I made something here. But when we talk about distribution strategies, we're talking about plans about distributing your product to reach customers. That is distribution strategy. So whenever you talk about strategy, it's always going to be a plan. But what is a distribution channel? A distribution channel is the link to which a product reaches the customer from the producer. A distribution channel is not the same as a distribution strategy. Are you with me, please? Yes. Sorry, I need to make a short video for that though.
Distribution channel?
Yeah, there's difference between distribution channel and distribution strategy. A distribution strategy is a plan that allows a product to reach the customer. That's a distribution strategy. But when it comes to a distribution channel, it's a link to which a product reaches the final consumer. So when we talk about the link, we're talking from the producer to the wholesaler, to the retailer, to the final consumer, or producer to the agent. It depends on the kind of product you sell and your location. So you have to understand the difference between distribution channel, distribution strategy. A strategy is a plan to achieve a certain objective. A channel is a link that allows you to reach your customers. I think the point there is clear. So now the question says, evaluate the extent to which distribution strategy is likely to contribute to its future success. So there are different distribution channels. Namely, we have the wholesaler, we have agents, retailers, direct selling through e-commerce. These are different distribution channels. Okay, so the plan to use specified businesses may bring about better services in those stores, which may in turn create brand loyalty for Nike. So when you use specified or specific businesses, those businesses, customers get stick with them, and that could create brand loyalty for Nike. Get the point there, right? 2, Nike plans to reduce numbers of wholesalers. This is likely to reduce its cost of distribution. So it's not just cost, it's distributional cost. Because Nike might be the one transporting, paying for the cost of transporting those products to those shops, to the wholesalers. So stopping doing that, by reducing the numbers of wholesalers means you are reducing the amount of money you spend on transportational costs. I think the point is clear there, right? Good. Nike is planning to increase its online selling. This is likely to give Nike more control regarding its product and may in turn increase its profitability. Now that you are direct selling, so that means you have access to your customers, not with third party. So that might allow you to have control over your product. Having control over your product means you decide when to sell, what to sell, the amount to sell, the amount not to sell. But for wholesalers, they will definitely inflate the price because they are businesses, so they want to make profits too. Do you understand? But when you do direct selling, the price you sell will be cheaper compared to when you sell to different distributors. So the use of online selling, also the use of online selling will allow Nike to have full access about customer information and feedback, which may in turn increase Nike's competitive advantage. So when you have feedback from customers, when you have information about customers, this gives you an edge over your competitors. Unlike when you use wholesalers and retailers, your competitors also use the same wholesalers and retailers as yours. Do you understand? But when you have direct link to your customers, you understand their complaints, you'll be able to respond to them swiftly. And this creates emotional attachment to your product. I think it's clear. However, reducing intermediaries, you know who intermediaries are? Intermediaries are the link between the producer and the seller, which are the wholesaler, the agents, the retailers. Those are intermediaries. I think you understand what intermediaries are now. Okay. So, however, reducing intermediaries may increase the cost for Nike, as wholesalers do share the responsibility for storage and transportation of goods. So now, because Nike is reducing its intermediaries, it means Nike must have a big warehouse, storage to keep stuffs. Yes or no? So that increases cost for Nike. But on the other hand, if it uses wholesalers, they will keep these things themselves. Yes or no? Also, not everyone will respond to the use of app. And some customers will prefer visiting stores before purchasing. That's another point there. And lastly, the new strategy may be quite expensive in the short run, which may in turn reduce the profitability of Nike. It's a new strategy. It's expensive because it's going to increase cost. So in the short run, it might reduce the profit Nike made in the short run. But in the long run, it will help Nike because Nike will have more access to its customers. So that ends January 2022 Business A-level fast paper, AS fast paper. Any question?